Well, as we learned, the Obama administration was selling Americans a very different version of ISIS than the actual reality of the situation. Donald Trump has stirred up some controversy of his own, remarking 5 times in the past 24 hours that President Obama is the, quote, founder of ISIS. Here's just one of those occasions.
Last night, you said the president was the founder of ISIS. I know what you meant. You meant that he created the vacuum, he lost the peace.
No, I meant he's the founder of ISIS. I do. He's the most valuable player. I give him the most valuable player award. I give her, too, by the way.
But he's not sympathetic to them. He hates them. He's trying to kill them.
He was the founder.
Right, Democrats were quick to pounce on those comments as inappropriate, but can they really claim the moral high ground when they have made equally inflammatory comments in the past towards their political opponents, including Mr. Trump?
I think it's somewhat ironic to see some members of Congress wanting to make common cause with the hardliners in Iran. It's an unusual coalition.
I think the kinds of rhetoric that we've heard too often from Mr. Trump and others is ultimately helping to do ISIL's work.
He is becoming ISIS's best recruiter. They are going to people showing videos of Donald Trump insulting Islam and Muslims in order to recruit more radical jihadists.
All right, joining me now is Dr. Sebastian Gorka, author of Defeating Jihad and a distinguished chair of military theory at Marine Corps University. Larry Korb is a senior fellow with the Center for American Progress and a former assistant secretary of defense. Dr. Gorka, I'll start with you first. What do you believe that Donald Trump, to speak of his rhetoric first, we'll get to the Democrats in a second, but what do you think that Donald Trump meant when he said that President Obama is the founder of ISIS?
Well, I'm not his spokesman. I'm not part of his campaign, so let him talk for himself. But if he means that the Obama administration and Hillary Clinton facilitated the growth of ISIS into the most powerful jihadi insurgency the world has ever seen, he is absolutely right. Let's just look at the facts. In 2008, when this senator from Illinois became the president and afterwards appointed Hillary as his secretary in state, at that moment in time, ISIS didn't exist. Al-Qaeda in Iraq, the forerunner of ISIS, was one regional franchise inside Iraq. When we withdrew our troops, when we started to cook the books on intelligence, as you hear from the CENTCOM analysts, then we facilitated the rise of ISIS. With these false red lines in Syria that meant nothing, all the things were put in place by this administration to help this former Al-Qaeda franchise become a trans-regional insurgency with more than 80,000 fighters today. That's fact.
All right, well, Larry, the media is really running with this. I mean, Donald Trump has had many occasions to either clarify that statement, but he's doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on calling President Obama the founder of ISIS and also making the same insinuation with Hillary Clinton. But they've started to use words like Donald Trump said that the president created ISIS. He didn't say that.
Well, I think if you take a look at what he said and compare it to his own statements, Dr. Gorka seemed to indicate that by us leaving Iraq in 2011 under the agreement that was signed before Obama came into office, and Maliki, the prime minister, refused to modify, Trump said we should leave in 2007. He also said we should leave in 2008. He said it again in 2011. So if that's what he's blaming ISIS, and if you go back to how did ISIS start, Zarqawi, who was really the founder of ISIS, was a nobody till Colin Powell went before the United Nations and glorified him and said he was associated with Saddam.
So what's your point? Are you saying but let's go back to the rhetoric that's being used, because the left is on the attack on Donald Trump for saying such a thing. Dr. Gorka made the case for why he could mean it the way he did. He explains it, but then you have the use of the same rhetoric on the left. Hillary Clinton, in addition to what you just heard from President Obama, Hillary Clinton at the Democratic debate in December said he is becoming ISIS's best recruiter. I mean, isn't that similar?
Well, I think if you take a look at what he said today, what he said yesterday, basically it's the same thing that Mr. Putin and the Ayatollah are saying. And in fact, the Ayatollah says we created ISIS, so you'd have Sunnis killing Shias, and that's why we have to do the things that we do. This rhetoric, I mean, and again, it contradicts things he himself has said. Never mind what the Democrats are saying. I can show you in 2007, he said we ought to get out. Said it again in 2008. Said it again in 2011. So if that's the problem, he is responsible for it.
And Dr. Gorka, you mentioned the CENTCOM report. We just led with that at the top of the hour. A lot of outrage learning that the American public was misled. The intelligence, the books were cooked, and we weren't really told the situation that was happening.
Yeah, it's outrageous. We didn't even have that during the Vietnam War. And I find it just as stunning that Mr. Korb, who engineered our withdrawal from Beirut, which sent the wrong message to the jihadis in the 80s.
Oh, I'm glad that Reagan did, let me tell you that.
Worked in a Reagan administration and is now attacking Colin Powell. Really? Where's the integrity in Washington? How about talking about the facts on the ground, please, Mr. Korb?
Well, I'm happy to talk about the facts on the ground. Zarqawi was nobody. Read what Colin Powell said before the UN. He claimed he was in league with Saddam, which he was not. Saddam was trying to kill him.
We've got to leave it there. Thanks to both of you for joining us, Dr. Gorka and Larry Korb.